And here we go. Day 2 of the Houston Texans training camp is officially underway. We have some news, some notes, some highlights, some observations from yet another day here in Houston for Texans training camp. And don't you guys worry, because we're going to be covering it all throughout the entirety of training camp. We got some Joe Mixon news, Stephon Diggs out there at practice, John Mechie trying to break out this season. Don't worry, we have a lot to talk about. But before we jump into the news and notes and highlights, I need you guys to do me a massive favor and go give a follow to all of the Texans media members out there who work so hard each and every single day to get these highlights out for us, kind of allowing us, right, to make this video. Without them, the videos aren't even possible. Go follow them on Twitter, man. Major shout out to them. They will keep you guys updated with all the highlights on Twitter as soon as they happen. So again, go follow them before we jump into the video. But without any further ado, let's jump in. Now, today was interesting because, again, right, they're not in full practice. It's not full pads or anything like that. They're just getting started. But it also is a really good time to build chemistry, build rapport with a bunch of the guys, right? Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, with CJ Stroud, right? But the biggest question mark right now is, can CJ Stroud take what he did last year and, maybe not repeat it, but get a little bit better in some certain areas? To me, I think he really can. And the scary thing is, if he is able to improve just a little bit, this could be one of the scariest teams in all of football for next season. So I am truly just pumped to see that. You also add an alpha wide receiver in Stephon Diggs alongside Nico Collins and Tank Dell, who have also been what seems to be alphas so far in this locker room. I mean, all three of those receivers have been money, right? Tank Dell, Nico Collins coming off a career year, and then you have Stephon Diggs coming over from Buffalo, man. I am super excited. And then behind him, you have Noah Brown, you have John Mechie, you have Ben Skoranek, you have Xavier Hutchinson, Robert Woods, Quintez Cephas, who they have just brought in on a deal for camp. I'm not sure if it will be a big deal or if someone, or a deal where he stays on to the team for the 53-man roster. But I think it's a camp deal where, they're testing him out, a camp body, to see if he can make the team or not. But man, the wide receiver room is loaded. I don't think I've ever seen a wide receiver room loaded as much as their room right now. So that's going to be interesting going forward. I also am excited to see Kenyon Green, man. This is going to be a massive camp for Kenyon Green. He needs to really come out here and prove that he can be a day one starting left guard for this team. Other than that, you have Blake Fisher, you have Jarrett Patterson, you have Chris Reed, Kendrick Green as well. So bunch of guys they really like in terms of the offensive line. Oh, another guy I want to talk about, Cade Stover, man. Cade Stover has been really, really good in terms of leadership. Now, you don't really see that too much in terms of rookies. You see a lot of the older guys take that leadership type of role, but Cade Stover has been different thus far, man. He has been taking Brevin Jordan and making him better, competing with him during practice, saying, hey, I watched you run that route. You need to do this better, right? And you don't see that out of rookies, specifically a guy like Cade Stover who, listen, he has to fight for not a roster spot, but he's got to fight for an opportunity to get onto the field. But at the same time, while fighting, he is helping other guys get better as well. I mean, that's what you call just pure maturity right there, man. I love Cade Stover, what he is as a person, who he is as a football player, and what he is on and off the field. You gotta love it if you're a Texans fan. That's the mentality that a lot of these guys need to have. Now, before we break down the rest of the video, talking about the running back room and a lot of the defensive room as well, make sure you guys do me a massive favor. Hit the like button so we can get this video out to more Texans fans around the world. But more importantly, subscribe to the channel if you're new. It is free, it doesn't cost anything, and we will be covering the Texans throughout the entirety of training camp, preseason, regular season, everything you could think of. We're going to be breaking down the film, breaking down the highlights. We got you guys covered. Join the family. Also, if you want to watch some Texans games with me throughout the season, I will be live streaming them on my Twitch, watching them, reacting to them, breaking down the film in live time. Make sure you follow my Twitch. It is Matty Dubs with 3 S's, or you can find the link in the description as well. With that being said, let's actually dive right back into the video. Now, with Joe Mixon here, building that chemistry, I think it's going to allow a guy like Dameon Pierce to, compete even harder, right? He's now has to earn that role again. He has to come in here. He's got to be someone that makes a name for himself once again. And listen, I don't think that's going to be a tough thing to do. Dameon Pierce is a guy I am very high on in terms of that short yardage situations. There is no doubt in my mind he's going to come in here and continue to showcase why he needs to be on the field. In terms of Joe Mixon, I love this addition because it adds a sense of unpredictability. The guy can catch the ball at the backfield, but also is a very solid runner, got good ball carry vision, and someone that is hungry, wants to win football games, is at the point of his career where winning is the only thing on his mind, and that's something you need on your football team. Joe Mixon has it, so that's very, very good. In terms of defensive line room, they add Will Anderson, you add Danielle Hunter. I mean, the edges, the ends on this team, ferocious, right? But the biggest thing to talk about is the interior of the defensive line. Even the GM came out and said, listen, our defense or interior defensive line is very, very deep, right? You bring in Foley Fatukasi from Jacksonville. You have Danico Autry coming over from Indianapolis. You have Mario Edwards. You have Tim Settle. You draft a 7th rounder, Marcus Harris. You still have a guy like Kurt Hinnis, right? They have guys they really, really like. So we should be able to know more in terms of who's going to start on the interior throughout the rest of training camp. See when the pads come on who can stand out. But so far, that might be another one of those deep rooms for the Houston Texans. You bring in a guy like Aziz Al-Shaair, who actually spent a lot of time with DeMeco Ryans over in San Francisco, spent a season or two in Tennessee, but now is coming over here to replace Blake Cashman. I think that is going to be a really good addition for the middle linebacker room here. Someone who can just really lead a defense for the most part. Bring him alongside a guy like Christian Harris. I really like their linebacker core so far. I do think there's a lot of room to improve, but how it stands right now, very, very good. Let's see it continue to grow and continue to get better as time goes on. Another thing, Derek Stingley, major breakout from last season. That is something that DeMeco Ryans can do, man. He is a guy who will get the most out of his players. He'll put them in situations, position them to absolutely just have unbelievable seasons, and I believe he is able or will be able to do that with guys like CJ Henderson, a former first-round pick, with a guy like Jeff Okudah, a former first-round pick. They have a lot of guys I am high on, and those two specifically I think could, go back to playing first round, like a first round player, right? And then you have Jalen Petrie, Kamari Lassiter, who during minicamp and OTAs looked like he's a day one starter. I mean, that dude couldn't be any better. He was insane during rookie minicamp, OTAs, mandatory minicamp. He's going to be a starter. It looks like it, right? If he continued to translate that into training camp, he's their guy. Then you have Desmond King. So a lot of depth in the secondary right now. Kalen Bullock in the 3rd round. You have Eric Murray and MJ Stewart and Lonnie Johnson bringing back over here as a former 2nd round pick. You bring in Mike Ford, Jeff Okudah, CJ Henderson, Desmond King, Kamari Lassiter. I mean, Miles Bryant, Chris Boyd, Troy Pride. Man, this team is deep. They're hungry. They're going to win a lot of football games, and I'm telling you right now, if these trenches can really play the way they look on paper, this is going to be one of the scariest teams in football next season. I guarantee it. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family. Again, more camp videos all year long, preseason, regular season videos. We got you guys covered, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.